Hey guys, and welcome back to the Matthew 5:14 podcast. I'm your host Carter, and I'm so excited because today I have one of my best friends on the podcast, Skylar Sullivan. Guys, she's amazing. She's so funny, so sweet, loves Jesus, has a lot of wisdom in a very practical way about faith, and has walked through a lot of hard things in life that's given her so much wisdom that I know that so many people are going to benefit from. And I just can't wait because she's my best friend, so I can't wait for you guys to get to see a side of her and all sides of her, and maybe you guys can become best friends too.
Hi guys, I am so excited to chat with you today.
So awesome. So today we're going to be talking about a topic that is something that our world really needs to hear, but it's communicated in so many wrong ways, in so many worldly ways, so many self-help, girl do it ways versus God honoring ways. And today we're going to talk about Godfidence, which is finding confidence in God and our body image, which is a topic that we're both working through ourselves still. But I know that we both have a lot of wisdom with it. And so I know it's going to be really great. And it was funny because this morning, Skylar and I were actually at the gym. And we literally, because we were preparing for the podcast today, talking about it and stuff. And we, just had so many good conversations about it already. So I definitely feel like there's going to be, a lot of wisdom found in this. And just, a conversation with friends. Not just, it's not a Sunday sermon. It's a conversation about the struggles with it, but the truth found in those struggles. So do you have anything to add before I ask you the first question?
I definitely think that this topic will be really helpful because it's a topic that I believe, in a way, doesn't really end. It's something that you have to continuously, be seeking God for and, bringing it to Him. I just think it's, really practical as a woman because we're constantly, have the desire to be beautiful and to be loved and to love ourselves. So I think that this conversation and the wisdom from it could be really helpful.
Yeah, and just for a disclaimer, it's not going to be one of those, topics where, we're going to be oh, you're so beautiful, all touchy-feely. We're going to kind of get more, I guess, nitty-gritty with it and, really find the truth. And we know that this is a sensitive topic for a lot of people. And obviously, we're going to present it all with, grace and truth because that's what, Jesus calls us to do. But we're also not going to, sugar, I don't know. I just feel like this topic is so sugar-coated and so, so desensitized that we really need the truth. Even if the truth isn't always what you want to hear, it's what you need to hear.
I think it's a lot of, like Carter said, sugar-coated. Not in a way that means harm, but it's kind of putting a Band-Aid over what may be a wound in your life. Do a face mask to clear your skin and make yourself feel better. Or, drink greens because you'll feel healthier. When really, in all things, we need to get to the root of it. And the root and the solution is always going to be Jesus.
That's so good. And we're, what the world offers is surface problems when confidence, struggles and body image struggles and food and, all of those things, they have nothing to do with the outside. They have everything to do with the inside because we can change our body and make it look like the perfect body and still have all these insecurities and dysmorphias and struggles because it has nothing to do with what's on the outside. It has everything to do with what's on the inside.
Yeah, I think, a goal with this conversation is just that we wouldn't find temporary relief, but we would find more of a solution to, the ins and outs of, body image and finding, your true confidence.
Yeah, finding the lasting solution that's going to work for everybody, not just this size fits that person and this works for that one. And, you have clear skin, so you don't need to do a face mask. Maybe do this. It's no. This is something that everyone can use.
Yes, exactly.
So let's dive into the first question, which I want to talk about your favorite life verse, favorite Bible verse, and it's all surrounded by this topic. So what is that verse and what does it mean to you?
My favorite Bible verse is Psalm 139:14. It is, I praise the Lord, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And I love this verse, and I have carried it with me for a really long time in my walk with Christ, just because, number one, it is applicable to your confidence and how you carry yourself, how you feel about yourself. but I also think it like falls into the mundane of life, like your daily task. Like this verse truly uplifts me and makes me believe and helps me to believe that I am capable of all things, not because of myself, but because of my creator, whether it be applying it to school, like that I am capable of getting good grades. It's not from me, it's not because of me, but like God made me and He blessed me with this wisdom and He blessed me with the ability to do so. And then not only that, but when it comes down to like confidence, it's, your creator is perfect and He doesn't make mistakes with His creation. And so if He says that I am fearfully and wonderfully made, like I'm going to believe that because like that's His word and that's His truth.
Yeah, that's so great. Have you ever heard the saying, I'm sure you have, when people are like, when we look at ourselves and we critique ourselves, we're basically, it's like if you were to look at a, famous painter's artwork and you're like, well, I like it, but like that looks bad and that looks bad and that looks bad. That would hurt that artist's feelings and heart because they put their heart and effort into it. Well, the same is true, like, if we do it with God. Like, God created us. We are His masterpiece. The Bible literally tells us we are His masterpiece, created to do good works for Him. So when we look at ourselves and we're like, well, I don't like this, and I don't like the way my nose looks. I don't like the way, like, my hair is. I don't like, the body I have, whatever it is. We're basically telling God, like, I don't like what you gave me.
And not only that, I think, like, that's a great point. It's like, you're hurting God's feeling because, like, He made you. But, like, in the beginning of Genesis, it's like we're created in His image. So, like, I would challenge you guys that when you think, like, oh, I'm not pretty enough, oh, I'm not good enough, you're telling your God He's not enough for you because you're created in His image. And that's, like, a really, like, hard pill to swallow, I think. It's that, like, what you're saying about yourself, you're applying to your God.
Yeah, and it's so crazy how this connects because you just shared with me this morning that like the verse in Matthew that Aaron gave you, and by the time this podcast comes out, Aaron's podcast came out, but it was saying how the lilies in the valley and how
the lilies in the field,
like they're dressed in all their splendor, but they're dressed in beauty, but even Solomon wasn't like dressed as they were. It's like because I'm sure you guys can look at nature and respect nature. Like, you love sunrises, sunsets, flowers, the lake. Like, you love those things, and they're beautiful. But then you look at yourself and you don't feel beautiful. But when God created the world, it's in the first few chapters of Genesis. After He created everything, like the flowers and the animals and the sky, He said it was good. But after He created man, He said it was very good. And so there's that difference in us. So if you can look at the world and respect the world and see the world as beautiful and see it as good, then you should be able to look at yourself and see it's very good because it's better than this world because God says so.
Mm-hmm. And I would agree, like ask yourself, like, you find so much beauty in nature, like the sun sets and the sun rises, but when you think about it, it's here and it's gone. It doesn't last forever. It doesn't have a place on this earth for more than maybe a couple minutes or a couple days. But, like, God made you to enjoy this lifetime, to be here for this lifetime as He's placed you. And it's like those little things He's blessing with so much beauty, but, like, you are so much more. It's like, are you not more worthy than like a flower or anything like that? And so it's just like, think of all He's done for nature and think of like the multitude of all He's done for you.
That's so good, because then that's it. Like, the struggle with body image is that, like, we put the pressure on ourselves and we think like we have to change it and we have to do it, but in reality, like, our confidence and our identity and our the way we view our body, it has nothing to do about us, but rather everything to do about God, because the moment we see Him for who He is and we seek to live and look more like Him, then that's going to reflect in all the areas of our lives. So, body image and dysmorphias and confidence, it all has to bow down to Him because we bow down to Him.
Exactly. And I think, like, if you're trying to, like, fix yourself in your own strength and, like, oh, I have to do this, like, I gotta do it, I gotta be capable of it, like, you're never gonna be satisfied because you're not seeking that and getting it from the right place. Like, anything we do, whether it's like run, walk, bike, lift weights, like, it's not out of our own strength. It never was out of our own strength. It's out of God's strength and like what He's given us. And I think it's a mindset of, you know, seeking Him first above everything else, because we'll never be satisfied or accomplish the things we want to on our own, because it truly never is from us, it's from God.
Yeah, and that's so fitting for the next question I wanted to ask you is like, how do we honor God in the gym? And like, how do we get gains but not worship them? Is realizing that like it's not about us, it's about God, and it's only from His strength. Because I think like we live in a world where I did this, I did that, I accomplished this. Look at me, girl empowerment, woo, you know. And like for guys listening, like I feel like it's be the best man, you know, whatever it is. Like there's always something that tries to attack that like we found it in ourselves. So like how do you think we go into the gym seeking to honor God and seeking to worship Him, not the gains we get?
I definitely think it starts with a mindset. Like, you wouldn't be able to live this life fully without God in the first place. Like, He placed you here, like He's blessed you with all these things surrounding you, and with that like comes like waking up, having breath in your lungs. Like, the things that we pass over every single day are sometimes like the most important and the biggest blessings in our life. Some people are not able to go to the gym and to work out, and so it's like, praise Him for that. Like, praise Him for that small victory. Like, realize that if it weren't for Him blessing you with the strength, blessing you with the ability, that it wouldn't be, and you wouldn't be able to in the first place. So it's, God, thank you for the building that is the gym. Thank you for the breath in my lungs, for working hard, like, and giving all that glory to Him. Like, I think that is single-handedly, like, the number one thing to do is give glory where glory is due, which is to the King. Like, glory for the little things and the big things. It's like, I feel like, you know, when we get big redemptions, it's so easy to give God the glory. Like, that had to be God.
Yeah.
But we need to look at, like, the little victories, too, and have the same mindset. That has to be God.
That's so good. And, like, just, like you said, the gains that we get in the gym are only possible because He gave us bodies that can gain. You know, we have bodies that can grow in muscles and that can get faster in runs and, you know, all of those things. And so it has nothing to do with us because we didn't create our bodies. So why would we worship ourselves for our bodies when we didn't even create them? Like, we're not responsible for how they grow, you know? Obviously, we can put the effort in, but, like, we can't praise the created. We must praise the Creator. And I think another thing, how you had mentioned, you know, some people aren't able to, you know, work out and stuff like that, or it might look a little different for other people. That's such a great reminder to realize our identity isn't found in working out. Because if our identity, because I've been reading this book called Yoo-Hoo, the one I gave you today, and it's, you know, talking about when we like live in this world that tells us you can be whatever you want to be, you know, like, so if you don't like one identity or your story, like, change it. And that's not necessarily wrong. Like, obviously we need to take steps to live the lives that God is calling us to, but we're not responsible to be like, oh, like, I'm going to be a workout girl. I'm going to, you know, be a hiker. I'm going to be a fitness coach. Like, those may be things that you do, but they're not who you are. And so realizing in the gym, like, that's not your identity. Being skinny isn't your identity. Because if it was, and if that's where our identity was, then some people would have less than identities than others because some people aren't able to get the bodies that others can. But a reminder, like, our identity is found in Christ alone. So whether we can get the gains or not, we can be rooted in a strong identity. Whether, you know, we're fit or not, we're skinny or not, we have the desirable body of the world or not, like, our identity does not have to be shaken because it's in the one that is unshakable.
And I think if you go into working out, like, whatever it may be, with, I am a lifter, I am a runner, like, you are setting yourself up for failure, because when God made you, He didn't say, she's going to be a runner.
Yeah.
She's going to be a lifter. He said, this is my daughter, Carter. This is my daughter, Skylar.
Yeah.
Like, they are daughters of the King. Like, you are a daughter of the King. And
or man, if you're a man.
You're a son of the King. And that is your true identity. So anything else is just an addition that God has blessed you with.
That's so good. And that's like changing the mindset of like, okay, first and foremost, I am a daughter or a son of the Most High. And then from that, I just partake in these things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I am not a lifter, I lift. You know, I am not a fitness queen. You know, I am just into fitness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it's even a point, like, I am not a husband or a wife. Like, I am just, like, I'm married to this person, and we're doing, like, everything we're doing is coming from the place of, I am a daughter.
And, like, He has blessed me with.
Yeah.
Like, I also think it's, like, really important to, like, know your identity in God, because, like, we can easily compare ourselves when we take on the identity of other things.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, like, one is better than the other. Like, if you're not as strong as somebody else, but your identity is rooted in lifting weights, you'll always be stuck in comparison, and you'll never feel like enough, because your identity isn't rooted in what it's supposed to be rooted in.
That's so good. And I feel like that's where a lot of our struggles with, you know, insecurities and body dysmorphia and, you know, all of those lies is going to stem from that, because if we're not happy with how God created us, and we're not content and satisfied with the fact that, like, our bodies are meant to change and, you know, look different ways for Him, then we're constantly going to be changes that can't be changed.
Exactly.
And that's where it's like, okay, this is one thing that I've actually struggled with a lot, is that, like, from day-to-day basis, is when we wake up, our bodies look different, you know? Like, and mainly, like, it's in, like, your stomach, and I feel like that's something that, like, I've always struggled with, is that, like, you know, it changes as you eat food throughout the day. You don't, when you wake up in the morning, you might be really flat looking, but then as you eat food, you know, you get more bloated and stuff, and, you know, sometimes depending on what you eat, like, it affects you. And so it's like, how do you think we process, and I know there's, like, I feel like there's a lot of unanswered questions, like a lot of things, like, I think it's a very hard question to answer, but what do you think are some practical ways we can start to set ourselves up to, like, be okay with the changing in our body, and, like, you know, understand it's normal, and not beat ourselves up over it or feel so insecure?
I mean, as cliche as it is, as simple as it is, like, it's all going to go back to biblical truth, like what the Bible says and what God says about us. Like, for instance, like, I'm just going to go back to my favorite Bible verse, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Not every day I wake up and I'm like, I am so beautiful, like, I'm feeling myself. Like, that's just not the truth. Like, life wasn't made to be easy. It was made to be better with Jesus. Yeah. And so it's when times are hard and you don't feel as pretty that you can recall, oh, wait, God says I am fearfully and wonderfully made. God says I'm created in His image. And if you know who your God is, and you know how good your God is, you can reflect that onto yourself, because He created you.
Yeah, that's so good. And I think it made me, like, because it made me think that I feel like God almost, because, you know, He created us fearfully and wonderfully made. I wonder if He created, you know, our bodies to, like, change and fluctuate so much so we don't put our worth in them, because it's so fleeting, you know? And it makes me think of, you know, the story of Paul in the Bible, how he had the thorn in his flesh, and he asked God to remove it several times, and then he realized that God had given it to him, so he doesn't become, like, prideful and conceited. I almost feel like God might have given us these bodies that change so that, like, we don't worship them or, you know, root all of our identity in them, because it's impossible to, because one day you're going to wake up looking one way, and the next you might, you know, look different. But that's okay, because that's how God created us. And if our worth is found in Jesus, then even when our body looks different, we're still fearfully and wonderfully made, because it has nothing, once again, it has nothing to do about us and everything to do about Jesus.
And I would also say, like, I think, you know, God is never going to put us through something that, like, He's not going to be there for us. But I believe that, like, you know, he truly, like you said, made our bodies to change because it's going to teach us to, like, love our God and trust our God even more than if everything were perfect. If everything were perfect, if we woke up every day and had morning skinny all the time, if we had clear skin, like, we would never have insecurities. But if we never had insecurities, we would never need to lean on our God in the first place. And so it's like these challenges that he throws at us, whether like it's something so big or something so little, like a pimple on your face, like it's teaching us to run back to our God, to like lay those things at his feet, and be like, you know what, God, like I know what you say. I know this weight isn't supposed to, you know, hold me down in life, so I'm giving it to you, and I'm gonna learn to love myself because you love me first.
That's so good. It's kind of like, it makes me think, because people always ask, like, why is it that good things or bad things happen to good people? Well, you know, we have to trust that, like, everything, it's happening, it's for good, and, like, God is meaning good from it. And so, like, you know, and it also makes us run to him, because if good things happen to everybody, then would there be a need for Jesus, you know? But no, because there's sin, because bad things happen, like, there is a need for Jesus. And so because our bodies change and they don't always look the same, there's a need for Jesus.
I just think that, you know, like, if things were so easy, why would we need God to be our foundation? Like, like I said before, like, life with God is not supposed to be easy, because if it was easy, we wouldn't need him. But life with God is better because we have the resource now for all of our problems, to walk through our problems with confidence and with faith that, you know what, it's hard right now, but I know on the other side there's light, there's joy, there's happiness.
This is like more on a side note, which we talked about this. We're not going to go down a whole tangent of a different side conversation, but I remember one of my field hockey coaches, she said, like, we were in a really hard workout. It was miserable. It was probably summertime, you know, running some crazy run. But she said, the workout won't get easier. You will just get stronger. Exactly. And in life isn't going to get easier with Jesus, but now we have literally the God of the universe on our side, the strongest one ever. And so that means, like, our battles, like, we're not doing them alone anymore. And so that's the thing, is that when people try to offer help for confidence and body image and identity from a worldly standpoint, they're always going to wind up still feeling shorthanded, still feeling like they're not enough, because it's a battle we can't win on our own. It's a battle that we can't do on our own. Like, we need the strength of Jesus in order to be confident, in order to overcome body image issues, but not just to overcome them, but to continue to live in victory, because like you said, it's not like a one and done choice. Like, it's a decision every day to choose to see yourself the way that the Creator made you, not the way that created tells you to live.
Yeah, and I definitely feel like, you know, as my testimony, like, confidence for me and finding, like, security in myself and my God, like, hasn't been easy. Like, I wake up and some days I'm doubtful or don't feel enough or don't feel pretty enough. Like, when I do my makeup, and I think that's, like, it's like you get taught and you get that, like, endurance to, like, manage through those things better every time because you're taking it to Jesus. Like, when things like that come up, take it to Jesus, and you would feel relief, I would hope, when you take it to Jesus and you're like, you know what, I got this. But then, like, the next day you wake up and you're like, I'm not really feeling it today. You take it to Jesus, and that weight gets lifted off. And you, over time, like, that's why you say it's not, what's that saying? It's not like a marathon, or it's not a race, it's like a marathon or something. Like, what is that saying?
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't think I know it enough to say it, you know?
Yeah,
okay. I know what you're talking about.
But anyways, it's like, over time, like, Jesus is building you, like, through the struggle. He's like, oh, you're one step closer, like, you're one step closer, and it's like, the more you seek him in your struggle, the more strength he's going to give you.
Yeah, I think, like, okay, that made me think of two things that I want to highlight on. I think with, like, the saying, it kind of made me think about, this might be the meaning of the saying, It's like, okay, so I did track in middle school, so, and I don't know if you know, like, the track runs, but a 100, 100 yard lap dash, whatever, golly day. Whew, did not know what I was saying, but, it's, one and done really quickly, and obviously you have to train, and it's really hard, but I don't know, because I was a long distance runner, so it was just always like, wow, like, they're done so easy, like, mentally, like, is it that hard? Like, they literally are done in a couple seconds. Like, I would run, like, in middle school, it was, like, only the 1.5 mile, 2 mile, or whatever, but, like, it was so much more mental, because it wasn't like you were just hyping yourself up for 100, dash. You had to get prepared, with middle school was around the track, so, like, 8 laps around the track, and I feel like that connects with Jesus. I'm going somewhere with this. That connects with Jesus, because it's not like we're just equipping for a 100-yard dash. Mm-hmm. We're equipping for a marathon.
For a lifetime of walking and following Jesus.
Yes, and a lifetime of walking in confidence and freedom from body image struggles. And so we need Jesus to be able to run that race. And it's like the Bible verse, where it literally tells us we're running a race and the prize is Jesus. Yeah. And so, you guys, I just really want to highlight on that, like, in this world, in order to walk in confidence, in order to overcome body image struggles, you don't need another face mask. You don't need more pimple cream. You don't need this. You don't need that. You don't need this workout. Like, the world, it offers a bunch of bull crap. Like, and that's not a bad word in my opinion. I'm going to say it. Because it does. It's ludicrous. It's terrible. Like, you need Jesus. That's the only solution to this problem. But the world's going to try to offer you a bunch of other solutions, and you're going to wind up being empty and disappointed and right back where you started, or even before where you started, even worse than where you were every single time, because our need is only meant to be filled with Jesus.
And I think it's like, a way you could put it is like, the world is, like, offering you a temporary fix for a lifetime of struggles. Like, they're gonna say, here, like, buy this. It'll make you healthier. But then the next day say, but it has an ingredient in it that's not good for you.
Yum.
And then they're like, use this instead.
Yes.
Oh, wait. Mm-hmm. The side effect of that is, like, sleepiness.
And did you have one
no,
to say? Because I feel like that's how our world is. It's always on to the next best thing. One day, one thing is in, and then another day, another thing is out. And we're so desperate for the answer that we're so willing to jump onto anything. And that kind of connects even with anything in life. If we're so desperate for a relationship, then we're just going to jump into anyone. Yeah. If we're so desperate for a job, then we're going to jump into anyone, even if it compromises our faith, even if the relationship compromises our faith. Like, we can't be desperate in this life because we already have everything we need in Jesus. And so everything we do can be an outflow of Him, not, a desperation because we're empty.
That's why I said it's like, you don't need to be seeking the temporary fixes, because to the world that will never be good enough. You need to be seeking, like, eternal solutions, and that is Jesus. Like, you're gonna be, like, at the end of the day, like, we hope that, like, you end up in heaven and, like, you're with Jesus, but, like, you first have to, like, walk with Him through your life.
Yeah. And the journey is beautiful too, and that's where, like, one thing, like, okay, this is on a side note too, and then I do have, like, I'm literally saying this quick side note, and then I'll get back to what I wanted to say, but, life with Jesus here is beautiful. Like, it's a gift, and, like, He gave it to us so we could journey with Him, and I think so many people have this mindset, like, I don't want to go to hell, like, I'd rather go to heaven, so I'm just going to believe in Jesus. But Jesus is more than a get-out-of-jail-free card. Yeah. Like, He's more than a get-out-of-hell-free card. Like, there is life abundant on this side of heaven, and a life even better on the other side. But, like, I know, like, my life has been so sweet with Jesus, and I know, like, we've had so many sweet moments together through our friendship being built in Jesus. If you guys didn't know, Skylar and I actually met in church, and, like, our friendship just started with us serving together, and then, like, it just turned into, like, Jeep rides and deep conversations, and, like, it was all through Jesus, and it was so rich and sweet that way. So there's life, like, there's beauty on this side. But anyways, back to, did you have anything you wanted to say about what I just said? Okay, because we could have gone down a whole other.
No, I was gonna add, like, something with the body, but, like, we'll just keep it like that.
Because I wanted to say that, because I don't want us to communicate that like makeup's bad or
Mhm.
that eating healthy is bad, because eating healthy is good. Like, you should eat healthy. Those things, and like, clothes and stuff like that, like, none of that is bad. It's all your motive with it. And that even connects to modesty as well, because like, what is your motive in eating the good food? What is your motive in doing the exercise? What is your motive in wearing the makeup and wearing the outfits? Like, are you doing it because you feel, unworthy, so you're trying to be worthy?
So good.
Or are you doing it because, like, because I don't think there's anything wrong with wearing, like, we should wear clothes we feel good in.
Mhm.
And if makeup, if we put it on, we feel good in it, then that's okay. But the difference between it is, okay, am I doing it just because I feel good in it, or is I doing it because I don't feel whole without it? Because Skylar and I literally talked about this before. If we were wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt right now, like, that would be enough because we're enough in Jesus.
Yeah.
We're wearing these clothes because we feel good in them, not because our identity and our confidence is found in them. And so, eat the healthy foods. Also eat some ice cream and have fun with food too. Wear the makeup, wear the cute clothes, but don't do it trying to be whole, complete enough. Do it because you already are whole, complete enough, and it just makes you feel good.
And I just want to point out how much I feel like this can relate is John 10:10.
Yes.
I have given you a life, an abundant life. So make these choices out of what makes your spirit whole. What makes you feel good? What is going to get me to this abundant life that God is talking to me about? For me specifically, I definitely have had my struggles with, I need to eat clean all the time, every day. But it's no, that's not what makes my spirit happy all the time.
Yeah.
I eat that cookie, eat that cake, because that's what truly, makes us happy. And God didn't make life to be lived inside this square box to, fit the corners, to, make it perfect. He made it to be lived and lived abundantly.
Yeah.
So do what makes you happy and do what fills you up. It shouldn't come from a place of lacking. It should come from a place of fullness.
Yeah, and I think you had said it at the gym this morning. Jesus didn't come so that we would live in a box. He came so we would live outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
We would live outside the norm. And I think that, obviously, when Skylar's saying, do it makes you happy, that does not mean a sin. Because I think
yeah, let's make that clear.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean go sin because you think it's fun.
Because they're like, oh, well, if I can do what makes me happy, because I think it's easy for people to think that. But, do what makes your soul happy, your spirit happy. Because sin is not going to make your soul or spirit happy. Mm-hmm. And if Jesus gave us food, and he never, Jesus, one thing that I think is so awesome is that Jesus ate with his disciples. And I think he did that for a reason, to show us that, there is beauty found in our food if we honor it in a God-honoring way. We shouldn't go to food for comfort either, though. It shouldn't be I'm upset, or, and I know that's so tough because, not gonna lie, there are times where, mama's food is the best when you need some comfort. Mm-hmm. But, if you're constantly going to that, that's an issue. But, when you go to Jesus for comfort and then, like we said, food is out of that overflow, then that's okay.
I would add that there's a difference, between fueling your spirit and doing things that make you happy versus indulgence. Because indulgence can lead to sin, whereas fueling your spirit is just living by what the word tells you to.
Yeah.
And, I think, it can be tricky. That line can be tricky. It's a real thing. How do I balance, eating healthy to make me feel good and to make me more confident, but then also, feeling confident in God already, because I'm not, but I think it's, when you fix the root of it, when you find Jesus and your confidence in Jesus, then you don't have to question those things. Am I doing it because it makes me happy or because it makes me feel enough anymore once you set your foundation in Jesus?
Yeah, and I think, because finding that balance and that boundary is tough, and I think it's just, praying to God and being okay, God, especially because each person, that's why this world offers, not necessarily because obviously Jesus is a one-size-fits-all when it comes to Jesus. But then I think our freedom with food is going to look different for different people, because for some people, like, their freedom is just going to look different, you know? And I think, like, just asking Jesus, like, what is it that I can allow myself to eat that's walking in freedom but also not overindulging? Because for different people, it's going to look different. And so just pray and ask God, like, what can I do? And, like, I think one thing for me, like, this is my own personal thing, is that, like, I say to eat healthy, like, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then, like, really at the end of the day, like, if I have, because I always get a sweet tooth at the end of the day, that's really I allow myself to have freedom. And it's not, like, it used to kind of be every day, and I told you that when we were at West Virginia, I was like, every day, but it definitely has changed because God opened up my eyes to it shouldn't be every day. But, you know, eating healthy a majority of the time, and then, like, you know, that's where, like, okay, if you have a breakfast, you're like, if you're on vacation, you're probably going to eat unhealthy every day that week. Like, I feel like that's okay. Yeah. Just don't live a life of that, you know? A Saturday morning with your family, like, eat the cinnamon rolls, eat the bacon. You know, you don't have to be the one, you know, not partaking, but don't make that a habit every day, because if you ate cinnamon rolls every single day, like, you would be unhealthy. But, like, if it's for 1 week on vacation or a breakfast here and there, even some people do, like, breakfast every Saturday with your family. Just, like, one workout isn't going to make you fit. One donut or
it's
two
not going to make you unfit.
Yeah. And so going with that mindset, and so, like, last night, like, I went out with ice. Well, I actually have been messing up the past couple days. I've eaten really bad at night at the end of the day, but, like, I went with my sister because she's going to be going to college soon. I am too. When this podcast comes out, it's going to be way later than when we're filming it, but we went and got ice cream together, and I got 2 humongous scoops, and I enjoyed it. And yeah, I woke up a little bit more bloated this morning, but I went to the gym, I worked out, and I felt amazing at the gym. Like, I told Sky, like, I don't feel tired at all. I feel really good. Like, you have, like, life's all about balance. And you're allowed to enjoy food.
And I think, like, personally for myself, like, last night, it was I'm going to add another story. It was the last night of winter break for my little brothers, and so our family got mellow mushroom. And, like, I do not have mellow mushroom at West Virginia where I go to school. And in the back of my mind, it's like, is pizza the best thing for me? No. But, like, am I going to enjoy eating it? And is it going to make me, it may not make me feel good. Like, I may feel a little bit heavier, you know, something like that. But, like, is it going to make me, like, happy? Like, this is so good. Like, yeah. Like, and that's okay. Like, I feel like it also comes with, like, giving yourself, like, some wiggle room. Yeah. Because, like, God isn't, like, asking you to, like, walk the plank with your relationship with food, with your relationship with the gym. Like, He's not asking you to, like, stay in the lines when you're coloring. Like, it's not like that. Like, God is, like, allowing you so much more, and it's just, like, I feel like when you can really dive into Him and, like, knowing the type of life He wants you to live, like, you'll understand that, and you'll understand it for yourself so that you can walk it out.
Yeah, and I think if we're so strict with ourselves, it's like with a parent. If they're so strict with their kids, and their kids are going to retaliate. Mm-hmm. If we're so strict with ourselves, then we're going to want to retaliate. And obviously we need to have boundaries, because if we don't, it's kind of like if you go into a relationship, you know, in dating wise, if you don't have boundaries, then most likely you're going to fall into a life of sin. But if you have too strict of boundaries, then most likely you're going to try to, like, push the limits. And I think, like, the same is true with food. Like, you need to figure out, like, because obviously, like, and we've, oh my gosh, I need to watch what I say, because this could, like, lead to so many other, like, conversations. But, like, if you, like, you need to find that happy balance. And what works for one person isn't going to work for another. And, like, some people, if they go on vacation and eating, you know, that whole entire week of unhealthy, that might not be good for them. And so really, that's where you just have to pray, like, God, like, what is going to work for me? But don't beat yourself up over it, because that's not, God loves you so much, and He does not want you to beat yourself up, so don't do it.
Yeah. I think, I mean, I don't really have a lot to add, because you just kind of, like, hit the nail on the head, but, like, I would just continue to go back, like, God doesn't want you in that box. Like, God wants you to live beyond that box. Like, He's made you for so much more than, like, the expectations you put on yourself.
Yeah, that's so good. Well, since we are done with that topic, I want to hit one more before the challenge and, closing this podcast up. We're filming this in January before Sky goes back to her school, and I'm going to mine for the first time Ole Miss, which I've talked about that a couple times. But by the time this comes out, it's probably going to be either April or May, because I really think that this is a message that people need to hear before going into summertime, and you're in bathing suits and you're wearing more, I don't want to say revealing clothes because that sounds bad, but like you're going to be in tank tops and shorts, and like you're not going to be wearing like jeans or long sleeves or things like that. So things are more exposed. And I think it's very easy for people to feel insecure. So like, what are some pieces of advice you have as people are going into this summer, and how do they avoid like the expectation of the perfect summer body or hot girl summer or whatever it is?
I would say, number one, love your God and love who He is, and learn to love yourself how He loves you. If you are confident in who God has created you to be, you're going to step out feeling more confident. And I think it's not only that, but wear the clothes that you want to wear and wear what you feel comfortable in. I believe 100% that society and social media, especially for women, men too, but for women, have made so many expectations that we feel like we're falling short all the time, which just isn't the truth. I feel like they make you feel like you're not good enough, you're not skinny enough, like, if you have cellulite, then, like, don't wear that bathing suit. Yeah. Things like that. But, like, no, like, that is you, and that's who God made you to be. So you step out and be confident in that. I think, like I said, like, the confidence that I have today, I 100% owe to God and just, like, loving Him and knowing His love for me. So I would say fall in love with your Creator.
I think that's so good, and I think, with falling in love with the Creator means we embrace His created, we embrace ourselves, and I think that a part of that is like, because this is how I always think about it, if we're struggling with body image, everybody else is as well, and because everybody posts their perfect bikini pics or perfect swimsuit pics, and their abs are out, their tone, their butt looks good, whatever it is. But that they also have moments where they're insecure, and like you don't know how many tries it took to get that picture. You don't know how they edited it. They could be sucking in, and that's not actually what they look like. And so embrace it. And that's why like I've tried to be more like, I guess, like vocal and honest on social media about like posting the pictures where like I am bloated, and posting the pictures because like that's another thing. Like, most of the time, your beach pictures are taken on a beach trip when you've been eating junk, and so you don't look perfect. Like, embrace it. My family, we have a boat, and so we go on the boat, and we always go. You've been to the Cove, right? We love the Cove. It's this restaurant on the lake, and I get a good old meal. They've got good food. I enjoy it, and does that mean I'm a little whatever? Yeah, but I embrace it because the reality is, this is what happens. We act like we're the only ones who struggle with it. And that's exactly what the devil wants us to do. He wants us, and that's with anything, he wants us to act like we're the only one who bloats, we're the only one who looks bad.
Or who has acne, or cellulite, or stretch marks.
And I was going to say who looks bad, but looks bad, if you guys can see me, my little quotation fingers or whatever those are. Because we don't actually look bad, because if we're created by God, we look great, we look good, because He said we're very good. And so embrace it this summer. Embrace who you are, because I've learned this. When I have allowed myself to be comfortable with who I am and comfortable with who God created me to be, it's allowed other people to be comfortable because they don't feel like they have to strive and strain because I'm not striving and straining.
And I just want to put something like really practical out there. This is probably from like 2016 up until now, because I still see them now. I know if y'all have social media, if you're on it, you see the people who are trying to put light to this like expectation. The expectation versus reality pictures.
I'm so glad you pulled that up, because I was going to say that. I think another thing you have to be aware about is be intentional who you're following on Instagram. Like, if you're following people, now this is a little tricky, but if you're following people who are like sinful about it and putting unrealistic expectations, like, you might need to go ahead and just unfollow them for yourself. Now, obviously, like, if they're friends or family, that's going to be a little different. And you being the light, if you have a good relationship with them, try to, help them out with that struggle. But, you need to be, like, because you're as good as your company. And so follow people who post that expectation of reality, because I know that helps me when I go to the gym, because instead of, like, or in life, instead of, like, hiding it, it's like, no, like, I'm embracing my bloating. I'm embracing my
embrace the bloat over here.
Yeah.
But I would just say also, like, I would say agree with Carter, like, make social media a place where you feel safe and you feel loved for who you are, where it lacks comparison instead of it is full of comparison.
Yeah.
If you see those pictures that maybe your first thought is to compare, instead of, like, comparing, think of those expectation versus reality pictures.
Yeah.
99% of the time, the pictures you're seeing are not the reality of it. The reality of it is, no, take one more. Try again. Like, I gotta get the perfect one.
Yeah, or, let me change this outfit. I don't look good in this bathing suit. This lighting isn't good. And another thing, too, is pray for that person. Like, when you see it, or, like, thank God. Do two things. Thank God for them, because God created them. And then pray for them that, like, because they could be walking through them, they might not be. Just pray for them. You don't know. And God can take any prayer and use it. What was I going to say? I totally forgot what I was going to say. It was good. I know it was good.
Well, I'll just say that I'll try to pick up where she left off.
And I'm going to try to think what I was going to say.
I feel like the people that we see who are posting with their back turned and their booty out, or, their hair, like, like the wind blowing and the hair's covering their face and all you can see is, like, their outfit or something, like, those people are walking exactly what we're walking through, just, like, honestly hiding behind it even more, so that, like, gives you the opportunity to share the light of Jesus with them, to, lead them to more confidence, to help them on their walk. And it's just, like, so instead of, like, comparing, and instead of sitting in it, instead of, oh my gosh, like, why does she have what I want, like, take it as an opportunity to love Jesus more, to seek Jesus more, to share the light of Jesus more, and to just, like, grow in who he is and what he has for you.
Yeah, I think that's really good. Using it for good. I do remember what I was going to say. I have two things I want to say, and then if you have anything more, then you can add, and we'll wrap it up. But a lot of times, because I know that I've seen this on social media, a lot of times when they post those pictures where their body looks good, their face, like, they're not smiling, or, like, their face, like, you can tell they picked the image just because it made their body look good. So this is, like, because this is something I challenge myself. I challenge myself to pick the one where, like, I'm smiling in the picture, or everybody is smiling in the picture, versus the one that makes my body look good. Because I've always found the ones where I look really good, my body does, I'm not smiling, or, like, my face isn't, like, posed or ready for the picture. But all of the ones where I'm, like, smiling, or, like, my face is ready for the picture, my body doesn't look as posed. But it's like, no, like, it's not about the body. Like, let me share this because my smile can show who Jesus is, And I know that might sound cheesy, but, like, that's your motives. Like, why are you posting that picture? Like, are you doing it for attention and whatnot? And another thing is, don't just compare your body, but, because bodies, the dangerous thing about bodies is there's something that, like, we can change. There are things about you that are unchangeable, unless, well, some things aren't with surgery and stuff like that, but, like, because that's where we live in, because, all right, let me figure out how I want to word this. You don't have to change your hair color. If you're doing it because you, like to, and it's fun for you, that's one thing. And I don't know if I told you this, but this summer, like, I'm actually planning on getting, like, auburn lowlights done, just so it makes my hair more red, because, like, I love my red hair, and I just want it to be more red, like, not, like natural red, like auburn, not, like, mermaid red, like Ariel red, but, like that. It's not because I feel like I'm going to feel prettier with it, or because I want attention, or for, like, awareness. It's just because I like it. Like, I love that, and I think that's okay. But it's like, embrace who God, like, you don't have to change your hair. You don't have to change your nose. You don't have to change your boobs or your butt. You don't have to change your stomach, like, your legs. You don't have to change it. And it's like that song, what's the one, like, where it goes like
the Hannah Montana song?
No. We love Hannah Montana. But the one where it's like, do you like you? Like, you don't have to try so hard. You don't have to, like...
You don't have to try so
Yes, I was going to start singing
okay.
something better singing. But it says, like... Okay, do you know the name of the song? I want to find the lyrics.
It's by Pink, I think.
Okay, I'll just put the lyrics in.
You don't have to give it all away. You just have to get up.
I think it's by this girl band.
You don't have to.
Oh wait, no, it's by Kobe Kalaya. Is this it? Yeah, we'll just put it on.
Oh, it's like take your makeup off,
yes.
Put your hair down.
Okay, I'll just read the lyrics. Oh, there it goes. So it just says, like, run the extra mile, keep it simple so they like you. And I actually, this is so funny. God is such a full circle God. I saw this on Instagram, and this girl made this video where it was like, she was going back and forth with the lyrics, like, the devil, like, you know.
I feel like I've seen the same video.
Really? So it was like, the devil, and, like, with the,
and then, like,
colon.
what God said about
yes.
it. Yeah.
And it was like, so the devil is the one who tells you, like, put your makeup on, get your nails done, curl your hair, like, to do it out of, like, finding worth and value, because I believe, like we talked about, you can do it out of abundance, but he's going to be the one telling you to do it for abundance. But then Jesus is the one, like, do you like you, though? Like, and then the enemy's like, do this, do that, and then, like, Jesus is like, do you like you? And it's like, this summer, you don't have to do all of these things, striving to look the part, be the part, do what the enemy wants. Like, do you like who you're becoming? Do you feel like you're honoring God? Because our bodies are going to fade. Like, we're going to get old. We're going to get wrinkly. If you're a woman and you have kids, you know, our bodies are going to change. It's a gift from God, but, like, we're going to change. But one thing that is, well, it is going to change, but for good, that we're actually going to like to change, is our soul. So even when our body is diminishing, our soul doesn't have to. And it's honestly an opposite effect, because the more we know Jesus, the more our soul is going to grow. The longer we know Jesus in life, our body is going to change and, you know, start to die and stuff like that. Create something that's going to last, not something that isn't, and that is your soul. And so go into that this summer. Be more worried about growing as a person for your soul, not just your body.
Yeah. And I would say be confident in being different, and, like, be confident in being you and what God has created you to, because, like Carter said, like, looks are fleeting, but, like, who you are and the condition of your heart is going to stay forever. And, like, I'm just going to say, like, agree with me or not, the condition of your heart and who you are in your spirit holds much more value than what you look like on the outside.
100%. And I want to add to that, like, really, really, you know, hit this across the ballpark. Your beauty is not, and the way you change your body, it's not going to change, like, everything else in your life. And, like, making your body look a certain way isn't going to make you happier. You know, it's not, changing your body isn't going to get that relationship. Like, the enemy wants us to believe that if we do this, if we do that,
if we just meet the mark.
Yeah, or if we don't do this, like, the enemy's like, well, you look like that, that's why you don't have a relationship. Or, you know, you look like that, so that's why you didn't get the job. That's why you're unhappy. That's why. No, like, your body has nothing to do with that. And so that just gives it freedom right there. And so realize that, like, you're already beautiful where you are. You don't have, or handsome, and you don't have to change it. And if you're not liking anything in life, so if you don't have a relationship, or you don't have the job, or you don't have this, or you don't have that, it's just because it is not a part of God's plan for your life yet. Because, you know, Skylar's in a relationship, I'm not. She's not in a relationship because her body looks different than mine. Like,
because I got brown hair and hers is red. Like, that's not how it works.
And, like one thing, because, and this is something too, there's always going to be someone who is more fit than you. Like, that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
Like, Skylar is stronger and more fit than I am. But I don't say that out of a place of, like...
And Carter can run miles around me.
But that's another thing, too. Like, look at your, like... Thank God for your strengths and others. Because, like, our strengths are totally different. And that's so funny you said that. Because I was telling my parents, I was like, Skylar's so, like, strong, you know, stuff like that. But then, and it wasn't so much... And I was like, I like the way I am, though, because I can run a lot. Like, I just like that. And it wasn't out of selfishness. It wasn't out of comparison. It was just like, I love the way Sky is. I love the way I am.
Yeah, I love what God has given me, like the strengths God has given me. And I find it really cool that He's blessed you with that.
Yes.
It's celebrating your own victories from God and others' victories from God. That was loud.
Yeah, it's okay. It happens. And so, you know, you're in the relationship with Kobe because that was a time, like, God had that for you, and I've already seen it firsthand. You guys have walked through seasons of life together that you were supposed to. And I know for sure that I was supposed to walk through a breakup and be single again because, I mean, it's behind-the-scenes stuff that might be more shared at this point. You know, I don't know. You know the things I'm working on with the breakup and whatnot to help other people. But, like, I know I was supposed to walk through that for what I was supposed to. And so don't look to your left or right and compare because where Skylar's meant to be for her life is because God needs to work through her to be the light to specific people, and He can only do that through the things she walks through, and He can only do it through me, through the things I walk through.
And I just want to encourage that, like, there is no other you. Like, God didn't make two people alike. God made everybody uniquely for different things and for different purposes, and I would just say that, like what we're talking about, like, Carter's really good at running. I'm really good at lifting weights, kinda. I'm not hyping myself up.
She's really good, guys.
I'm working on it.
She teaches me a lot.
But it's like, don't get stuck in that comparison because the reality is you'll never be that person you're comparing yourself to.
Yeah. No
matter how hard you try, no matter what makeup you wear, no matter if you get the same outfit as them, you will not be them. Yeah. And so you're fighting a losing battle by trying to be something that God didn't make you out to be.
Like, they were meant to be who God is calling them to be, and you're meant to be who God is calling you to be. Mm-hmm. I think that's all really great. I want to ask a challenge, and I want to highlight on this too, and this is, like, so side note, but we are filming this, like, all in advance. So, like, all these things I'm saying, it's like, right now I'm saying I'm single, but maybe when this drops, I might not be. I mean, who knows? But I just want to, like, because I don't want, like, because especially if, like, some of the things I've been working on, like, get released and whatnot, people might be like, wait, what? You know? So just so you know, we're filming this in advance. When it comes out, there might be some things in life that are a little different, but all the truths are still the same.
Yeah. And the Word of God remains the same forever.
Even when seasons of life change.
Yes.
Okay, so anyways, with all that being said, so much good stuff. What is your challenge to our listeners to be the light?
My challenge to be the light is whatever you're doing, wherever you are, I know that sometimes personally for me, and I'm sure for Carter too, sometimes people just get placed on your heart. And I would say instead of, like, sitting on that feeling, jump on that feeling. Like, if God places somebody on your heart, something about somebody on your heart, text that person, encourage that person. Just let them know that you're thinking about them, because I promise you, it will make their day. No matter what it is. And I just think it's, you know, sharing Jesus' love for others. Like, hey, I'm thinking about you. Like, Jesus is thinking about you. Jesus loves you. Be intentional with the people in your life. So I just challenge you that if somebody gets put on your heart, text them and pray for them. Let them know you're thinking about them.
And even, like, if you've been feeling like there's a person that you're supposed to invite to church, this is your sign. Invite them to church. You know, or
if that's actually you, do that right now.
Yeah,
like
right
pause
now.
the podcast and invite them to church.
Yes, or if you've been feeling like this is a big one. Strained relationships happen in family. We lose touch with people because of past hurt. But Jesus paid the price for us. And so, you know, we have reconciliation with Him. And so we can have reconciliation with others. So maybe it's your dad, maybe it's your mom, maybe it's a brother, a cousin. If you're not in right standing with Him and it's been on your heart to fix a relationship, do what you can to fix a relationship. This is your sign. I love that. I think that's so good. I feel like if we were, I think if we were a more intentional world with how we treat other people, then maybe people wouldn't be so upset all the time.
And I would, like, in addition to that, a little bit deeper, if you're like, you know what, I don't have somebody on my heart right now or anything like that, I would challenge you to pray to Jesus that you would have open eyes and open ears and an open heart to people in your life that need a little extra prayer or need a little extra love, and love them.
Yeah, that's so good. Jesus left the 99, or he always used the 99 for the one. You know, we can do the same. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that podcast. It was literally so good. I hope you guys learned about confidence in Jesus. You know, our struggles with body image and insecurity, we get to solve them when we are rooted in Christ. Our identity is rooted in Christ. And go out and be the light by reaching out to someone or being intentional, inviting whatever it is with someone who has been on your heart. And if someone isn't on your heart, pray that God would show you who it is. So I hope you guys enjoy. Go out and make a difference and be the light.